per hour, side by side, bumper to bumper. Oh, big wiggle for John West Townley going around. Contact.
What an amazing save. Daniel Hemrick's into the outside wall.
Hemrick in the 19. Another one of our chasers.
I cannot believe the save that Cole Custer made in that 00 truck. But look at the damage to the 19 of Daniel Hemrick.
Daniel Hemrick could not afford any trouble today. He was on the outside of that chase cutoff line.
Take it easy here.
Problems for the 19. Can't believe it didn't collect more than what it did.
Like Phil said, the job Custer did just saved 10, 12 trucks from being swept into this thing, but he's got heavy damage to the right front of his truck.
So Cole Custer, who was running up there toward the front with a problem. John West Townley, an issue, was getting a little bit of a shove from behind and just couldn't keep it straight.
Cole Custer needs to get to pit road now, make sure that tire doesn't come apart and tear up some body work.
Well, he's done. I don't.
Look at the damage to that 00, and he saved that truck.
Well, he doesn't have any damage to the nose. We talked about the big push William Byron was getting from Ben Rhodes, and I think that pushed Byron up into the back of Townley. Nothing John West could have done there. He just got hit at the wrong time.
Boy, the evasive moves by several drivers saved that from being the big one.
Yeah, we had 2-3 trucks involved in it. It could have been 23.
I think the 41 of Rhodes on the outside, the third one back, is maybe gave the 9 a little bit of a bump, just as you guys said, and then the 9 got into the 05.
See, that's the problem. The 41 can see the 9. He can't see what's out in front of the 9, and if his spotter's not telling him, hey, the 9's all over the 05, then he pushes him into it.
Yeah, that's just not being able to see what's ahead. Byron gets a push, hits Townley in the wrong place. John West into the 00 of Custer. Custer keeps it going straight somehow. If you watch back in the pack, it looked like the 29 of Tyler Reddick got into the back of Daniel Hemrick as they were trying to slow. I mean, they're in the middle of a crash.
Yeah, no fault to Tyler Reddick
him at all. Just
of course, those are teammates.
Coincidentally, the teammates were together. You can see them down on the lower part of the groove.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe as
yeah, Reddick had to turn left to avoid the 05 of John West Townley.
And maybe got on the brakes a little bit there too, and that caused the 29 to get into the back of him. William Byron, the third truck in line, a 6-time winner this season.
Oh, got a spinner. We talked about Lupton.
It's the 02 of Lupton and a hard hit for that 71. Brandon Hightower, the 18-year-old, hard into the wall. That was a huge hit for Lupton. Good to see. You can see him moving around and quickly out of the truck.
According to our scoring monitor, Daniel Hemrick will be the recipient of the free pass that will put him back on the lead lap and back in contention.
The 07 of Cody Ware taking some damage as well.
Hard hit for Brandon Hightower.
And that happened right here in front of our broadcast booth, and you can just feel the impact when these things crash into that safer barrier. Daniel Hemrick will indeed.
I think Brandon's favoring his left hand or wrist, it looks like.
Hightower making his first start of the season.
Doing a nice job running up in that lead pack. Nice to see that he's okay.
Yep, wave to the fans. Heavy damage to that 71, so Hightower done for the day. Let's see how it gets started. The 02 of Dylan Lupton.
He just got up a little bit too close to the 23 of Gallagher. Then I think he felt like he needed to turn the wheel and get away from Spencer. And Brandon came along and just to try to avoid it, turned right and got into the outside safer barrier.
And somehow Lupton didn't hit a thing.
First career start for Lupton here in the Truck Series. Boy, you're right, Michael. How does he avoid any contact at all? Not another truck, not the wall.
That's what
Meanwhile, Brandon Hightower, he took it all.
That's what Talladega's all about, Vince. Dylan Lupton makes a mistake.
See how high he was away from the double yellow line.
He gets away with his mistake, and it just swept a couple other trucks into it.
Well, look at Matt Crafton barely get through there with that bright yellow truck.
I'm not sure Hightower had much choice other than just try to crank it to the right. Maybe he got too aggressive with it, obviously. That's why he crashed. But, man, he was in a tough spot with Lupton coming back.
Hungry for their first win.
Oh, there it goes.
Ben Rhodes collects a bunch of them.
Oh, man.
The big one at Talladega.
It's Hemrick also involved in the bottom in the 19 truck. There's Daniel on the apron of the racetrack.
A big sweeping crash down in turn 1.
We're going to get you back around here.
And it is the big one. The 9 of William Byron driving through the grass. Hemrick, there's the 78 of Fontaine.
I saw.
Look at the damage.
Brandon Brown got swept into that, and there's the 00 of Cole Custer.
Matt Tift, I think, right in front of him.
That's Rhodes over on the left.
Reddick with a lot of damage in the 29 truck.
Major chase implications in this one.
Have we seen the 4 of Christopher Bell make it through that? He was.
The bed top is up. You'll see it. Try to hit pit road now.
A lot of damage though to that truck in addition to the bed top being up. That may just line up our. There's the 4 of Christopher Bell. That may line up our chase with it.
Well, he's got some damage, it looks like, Phil.
Yeah, but I'm not sure the 19 would be able to finish high enough with all that damage if he's able to continue.
Involved. The 86 of Brandon Brown, the 41 of Rhodes, the second truck up there on the outside. That's where it all started.
Looked like he might have got a shove from the 17 of Timothy Peters.
Well, I talked about how he's able to push so well. That means he's always up against the truck in front of him, and there isn't any room for Timothy to push him and push him ahead because he's already bottomed out against the truck in front of him, caused him to go sideways. Look at all that sheet metal flying through the air and those trucks grinding to a stop.
I'd mentioned Matt Tift was involved. He is not. Matt right now is in the second position. He got through that unscathed.
The 5 of Corbin Forrester, the 05 of John West Townley. There is the the 07 of Cody Ware. You mentioned the 00 of Cole Custer, the 86 of Brandon Brown. Of course, Rhodes, heavy contact. Watch on the outside, second truck on the outside lane.
Yeah, hard contact. 41 bounces off the wall into the 86 of Brandon Brown.
What about Brandon up in the 6th spot in that truck? And
great job by Rico Abreu and Tommy Joe Martins, the 44 truck getting by. Rico in the 98.
Well, Rico's dodged a bullet a couple of those accidents, hasn't he?
He's seen it all today, Vince.
Rico Abreu making his first start here at Talladega.
Ooh, it looked like maybe Ben was going to the inside. At the same time, Timothy gave him a push, and it just went wrong. Look at Rico. Wow, how does he squeeze through there? Up to the high side on the side of Tommy Joe Martin.
And he had to give Tommy Joe some room, too, and he did.
Good job by both Martins and Abreu to get through that. Brandon Brown didn't have a chance.
Sure did. Just victim of circumstances there for sure. Most of these guys had nowhere to go, Vince. They just came along, and it happened so fast. The 41 bounces off that outside wall into Brandon Brown and just clogs up the racetrack.
So just past the halfway mark, and major damage. Multiple trucks. The chasers. It's been an eventful day for those 8 trying to advance to round 2. Remember, only 6 advanced to the second round of the playoffs, and already John Hunter Nemechek, we know he's eliminated with the engine problems early in the race.
Look at Abreu and Tommy Joe Martin squeezed through there, and then late it looked like Austin Cindric was trying to thread the needle and didn't quite make it through there.
That's where the damage out for William Byron came from.
Watch it from the 19 of Hemrick.
Go up high, go low, go low, back it down, go high.
We're hearing that maybe the 07
They're
of
outside.
Oh, Cody Ware got him from behind.
I heard that hit late.
I looked up, might have been William Byron. That
keep it rolling. Track is clear. Keep it rolling.
Timothy Peters.
See, look at that. Just before Timothy went to give him a push, Ben Rhodes changed lanes. It looked like he tried to dive into the corner a little bit early.
Yeah, I agree with you. He looked like he jogged to the left just prior to that contact from Timothy.
And watch him clip the 86 of Brandon Brown. Wow, that's a huge impact. Just tore the whole front end off that truck.
There's so many just had nowhere to go, including the 5 of Forrester, the 0-5 of John West Townley. They just had nowhere to go. 0-0 of Cole Custer.
Looks like they're welded together right here. They're going to come off the racetrack all together.
And look at the 98 going by just on the bottom with the 44. Those two trucks somehow skate by on the low side, and then they have to drive abruptly to the top in order to miss another spinning truck. Great job by those two drivers.
Yeah, I think they were actually making contact side by side there. 98 of Abreu and the 44 of Tommy Joe Martins. And then here's the spin that has brought out this current caution.
That thing looks like it just jumped right around for no reason.
Just swapped ends on him, but he has too big a lead. He has too big a lead.
Oh, there goes.
They're bumping in the back. Haley is into the wall.
I think that was the one of Josh White.
Fortunately, Sauter had enough room to see it. There's a second truck involved in that as well.
That's Kyle Donahue, that 16-year-old in the 63 came along after the fact.
Wow, you think maybe Donahue saw the crash and slowed and somebody booted him from behind?
Or locked up the brakes and around he went and made some contact with that left rear quarter. Pretty hard, significant contact with that left rear quarter panel.
Both of those guys are making their Truck Series debut. They didn't want it to wind up like that, for sure.
It certainly doesn't want to meet down there.
Bring it straight to pit road. Bring it straight to pit road.
Well, that's the difference between a good break and a bad break. Obviously, for these two, not the way their day wanted to go, as you guys indicated, but also Johnny Sauter, the race leader, fortunate enough to be back just enough that where he didn't get caught up in that.
Wow. Donahue just got loose on entry, maybe saw the truck spinning, added a little bit extra brake pressure, locked up those rear tires, got to wheel hopping, and around it went. This race right now, you just want to keep that guy in front of you honest. Don't let him save his stuff.
Spencer Gallagher, significant damage into the wall.
Yeah, it looks like a right front tire went down.
Keep coming here. Couple more coming inside.
Gallagher was back in the 15th spot.
Come down, come down.
Tough braking. Once again, our caution clock.
No indication, just went. Don't think I hit the wall too bad.
That's good news. Sounds like he lost a tire. No indication, just went. And you know, when I talk about Cole Custer just keeping pace with Chase Elliott, you use those brakes really hard, you risk burning the bead, the rubber bead off of the right front tire.
You melt the bead, don't you?
So there's the damage on the right front fender for the 23 of Gallagher.
He was right in between the 18 of Harrison Burton and the 20 of Austin Hill. Again, no warning whatsoever. It just went. He's right, though. He did not make that hard a contact with the outside safer barrier.
Yeah, Perez is right behind him. Christopher Bell, they're all stacking up, and they're all going to get around, and Harrison Burton has gone around down in turn 1.
Fired up. Fired up.
Looks like Austin Terrio will get the free pass. Matt Crafton needs that position, but Terrio was ahead of him. They're back in the 21st and 22nd position. Harrison Burton was running inside the top 10 when he went spinning around, and he's going to lose a lap.
Yeah, he had it refired, but then he just couldn't get over the curb. So now, as all the trucks go by, that puts him a lap down.
Well, and Matt Crafton had gone a lap down also when they were trying to repair that brake issue on the 88.
I don't think he's going to get the free pass. It looks like Austin Terrio in the 02 truck will get the free pass right now.
Back up. Back up here.
Yeah, and Terrio's just a couple of trucks ahead of Crafton.
See if we can see what happened. Is that Timothy Peters gets in the back of Harrison Burton and sends him around. I saw the mark on the rear bumper. His truck, last time we saw it, was clean. I felt like he probably had some help getting around there.
And you can see there's a gap between where Burton was running and the truck ahead of him. That means Timothy
takes the lead from Nemechek.
Oh, and we got a spinner in turn 2.
A little bit of contact from John.
Oh, it's a chaser.
Townley coming in. So the 33 of Ben Kennedy spins. don't think he was going to have any damage until Townley just couldn't get stopped in time and got into him.
And I think probably Ben Kennedy's probably going to be okay with that minimal damage there, but Matt Crafton will get our free pass. A lot of damage to the Zaxby Chevy for John West Townley.
They're going to have to come in and pull that right rear fender out on the Jacob Company's Chevy. Phil, I don't think he can finish this race. You can see the tires rubbing. I think they'll have to make that move.
Yeah, and they might as well not, because he's all the way back to the tail of the lead lap.
And how quickly have things changed? Matt Crafton was the guy on the outside looking in, a lap down. Ben Kennedy top 10. Now Crafton back on the lead lap, and Kennedy is going to have to come to pit road for repairs.
Well, here's how it happened. The 33 goes around, maybe get a little help from the 41 of Ben Rhodes.
Overheard a spotter saying it was the 41 that got us.
And then you see that John West Townley just couldn't get stopped in time.
Just about got stopped, but a lot of damage, though, to his Chevy.
You see that there, just hits him in the back.
Just gets in the center of the corner, just gets in the throttle beforehand. See Suarez hanging tough on the outside. William Byron really, caution flag already. Myatt Snyder, the 22 truck, is around making his Truck Series debut.
What a heartbreaker for Myatt Snyder.
That's not a heartbreaker. It's just a disappointment, man. It's heartbreaker to be torn to pieces. Looks like he's going to drive away and be able to regroup and go at it again.
22 there, headed to turn 1.
Yeah, Austin Cindric tried to jump to the inside to make it 3 wide.
Did I tell you when they try to go 3 wide, it gets treacherous here?
Well, it didn't happen until the first turn, Michael.
Check this run that Cindric gets on the inside and just charges that first corner. Wow, how lucky was Snyder he didn't hit that inside wall.
Yeah, but you got to realize there that it's lap 1. There's not.
Under caution for the second time tonight here at Pheonix. Last week, Spencer Gallagher won the pole and led a career-high 88 laps. Tonight, he's in the wall right out of the gate. This is what happened.
Watching along from Austin Cindric's truck. You see, watch this little wiggle. It looks like that left rear tire was down to me, Michael.
Yeah, it maybe was a rub. Maybe someone got into him racing side to side, and it just had a leak, and it finally blew out, and around he went. And man, I talked about the 150-mile-an-hour speeds. When something goes wrong like that, there's nothing the driver can do.
Down at turn number 3, and it sticks, and he's able to clear. Oh, trouble again.
Cindric and the 18 of Gregson.
Two drivers that will be running full-time next year in the Truck Series.
You know, that has every look of what we talked about earlier, Phil. A truck getting loose on the inside. A couple of guys with not a lot of experience. Gregson making his first start here in the Truck Series. They're running back in the 14th, 15th position when the contact or the spin happened. Be interesting to see if they did indeed get loose on the bottom of the track.
It looked as though the trucks had significant damage.
See, Matt tipped on the bottom. Looked like Gregson got a little bit loose. He was the truck in the middle, the 18 truck. He jumped up into the outside, into the 2 of Austin Cindric.
When you're down on the bottom and someone hits you, it will make you looser. And that, you know, the air just moves these trucks around, and Cindric slid up in.
The 18 of Gregson is trying to stay with them, gets a little bit loose in the middle there. Austin Cindric does a nice job, almost saves that truck, but does not make any contact. You see slight contact for the 18 of Gregson into the outside safer barrier.
Cindric, 18 years old. Gregson, 18 years old.
Well, when I think of all the drivers that have had contact into the wall or troubles, Vince, the average age of them is 20. So it's kids learning their trade here. And you can see in the middle.
Hold the brake. Stay in it, 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 stay in it. Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake. All right, get it rolling.
By Suarez, he actually clears, and we have yet another caution flag. Tommy Joe Martins is around. He's made some contact with somebody.
Roll to the bottom. If you can, roll down.
Or a heavy hit.
Right behind the door on that 44 truck. Take another look at it. You see he's going to be on the outside of a 3-wide situation. Almost a carbon copy of the first incident with Austin Cindric and Myatt Snyder. Truck made it 3 wide getting down in turn number 1, and unfortunately Tommy Joe Martins pays the price.
I think that was the 66 of Austin Wayne Self.
Yeah, you're going to see it right here, Vince. Look, the 66 makes a dive into that first turn. There was nowhere for him to go.
Low, you can.
Dominique Van Werrigen in that 0-2.
It's the 41 truck right behind this.
Oh, they're going to make contact.
Oh, they do. It's Abreu and Gralla into the wall.
Yeah, that didn't shape up well from the beginning. When they got down in turn 3 and 4, rubbed closely together, and then no room when they got to 1.
They were back there battling for 14th.
Hard contact for Kaz.
Back it up. Good job out there, man.
Unfortunate for Kaz Gralla in his final race of the season in that 24. 17-year-old from Massachusetts. He's done such a nice job in his opportunities this season at GMS.
Sure has. You have to give each other a little bit of room out there. These trucks don't handle quite as well when you have somebody stuck to the side of you.
And you can see Rico looked like tried to just maybe side draft a bit of that 24 truck down the front straightaway, and then they tried to grab the same piece of real estate when they drove into 1. Not enough room. Rico was able to keep his truck off the wall. See what I talk about here. There's a bit of a move to side draft right there, and then breaks away from him. But Gralla just dove for the corner, and there wasn't room there. Ooh, what a great job by Gregson there in the 18, just barely slipping underside on the bottom side of Gralla.
And Gregson gets the free pass as we are under caution for the 6th time tonight.
Yeah, it looks like Kaz maybe was going to crowd Rico a little bit, get down in the corner and make contact. Austin Cindric has been behind every incident we've had on the racetrack, it seems like. Here he is yet again.
Oh, man, that's a wild shot. And Cindric's able to sneak by on the bottom.
Rico made a little bit of contact with the inside safer barrier. Kaz along for the ride right there. He turns the steering wheel left and nothing happens. He gets up in the loose marbles.
Well, thank goodness for the safer barrier there. That was another strong hit.
Yep. Laps. There's some smoke on the racetrack.
A lot of smoke from somebody in the 16 of Stuart Friesen.
Looked like Friesen got loose off turn 4 and went for a wild ride, and the leaders were fast approaching.
Your tires. Easy. You're not going to get it back. Do not blow them out.
Progress, but as you can see, just running that high line, Friesen had his 16 truck get away from him. Did a nice job of keeping it out of the inside wall. And you see the leaders there coming up behind him.
He let off the brake at exactly the right time. If he holds the brake, he probably hits the inside wall.
I don't know, Phil.
Lines down now under 7.5 minutes, and right on cue, we get a caution as the 07 has gone around. That's Patrick Staropoli.
I don't think he touched anything. It's the 07.
Yeah, I don't think Patrick hit anything. He was running in the 28th spot.
You can see his right rear's flat.
He just spun out on his own.
See, the left front's flat as well. Has to be very, very careful as he comes around. That's our leader, Kyle Larson, right behind him. I'm not sure he's going to be able to maintain the speed to stay ahead of the 24 of Larson.
Up a spot, and Kyle Busch talking about as we see Patrick Staropoli spinning around. Let's look inside Christopher Bell's truck and see if we see, yes, there's a spinning Staropoli up ahead.
Stay up higher. Down on apron. Help it down, back it down, back it down.
He had to drive right into that smoke and hope.
Legacy Jr., the 02 truck, out on the high side, that yellow truck, who cautioned us out.
Yellow's out, yellow's out. Turn 2. Turn 2. We had one scrape the wall over there.
There's Staropoli again, bringing out the caution. So just before the caution clock expired, we have a caution for the 07.
Yeah, essentially the same difference. The caution clock was going to come out, and caution was going to come out in a matter of about 20 seconds. So going to give these guys another opportunity. These pit stops are going to become more critical as we get towards the end of this race.
Maybe he doesn't push that truck, gives it a lap or two in order to cool off and maybe go back at Matt again.
Patrick Staropoli bringing out the caution for the 3rd time tonight.
Rough night for Patrick. He's been into the outside wall a couple of times.
Michael, what do you decide?